30th of April, where we'll be engaging with various volunteers for our 2022 program. Welcome to Trees Experience. Hey guys, I'm super excited. I'm here at the American corner under the Moy University, and I'm eagerly waiting for the volunteers for the 2022 cohort. Super excited. These volunteers will be volunteering their time and skill on our various pillars, that is in energy, environment and empowerment, where we have so many activities that they can participate in. Super excited. We're going to be meeting about 50 number of volunteers, holding a session here. It's the 30th of April of 2022. So the best part of the morning, we'll be hosting a meeting with these potential volunteers, the youth, where we'll be engaging with them more about Trees Experience organization and how they can plug into our various programs. Guys, let's go in. My work and my personal travel and observing new issues and opportunities. As I mentioned, one of my hobbies is traveling, and also now I'm able to do vlogging. Then I was able to identify some friends and mentors who had similar concerns with the issues, whether it's the environmental issues, and then the organizational needed to be sustainable, scalable, and replicable. That's why now the forming of Trees Experience, and I was able to create now the Trees Experience to address the school, community and environmental needs. With the school needs that is relating to the environment, you find school-going girls, they are the ones who are tasked with collecting firewood, and with time you find firewood has gone further and further away from the homestead. I did a study at Masai Mara, and we found that it takes a minimum of 3 hours to go for firewood. So you can imagine that the amount of time that these school-going girls are spending, and so when they come back, they're also fatigued, they don't have enough time to do their homework, and also they have this challenge of there's no electricity because they're staying in the rural areas in the Manyata. There's no electricity, so in the evening they're not able to catch up with their homework, even some extra reading. Yes, and then with those communities, they keep livestock as their main source of income. And you find at the homestead there's like pile of cow dung. Yeah? In the morning you find the girls and the women will come together, like spread out the cow dung. The excess one you took on the side of the homestead. And you know now when you train, the cow dung gets into the river, as you know the diseases that come, the waterborne diseases that come as a result of that. And you see that is biogas energy that is not being utilized. And you know now they're using the firewood, which is not good for their eyesight, the respiratory issues. Even some houses are being prone to fire. It has killed children and stuff. So Trees Experience is trying to address all those challenges under our 3 pillars. That is energy. On energy, we're focusing on clean cooking and solar lighting. Environment pillar, green and clean environment. Green environment is the planting of trees. Clean environment is not the cleanup exercises. And then we have the empowerment pillar. We have the school empowerment projects and the community empowerment. Our strategic pillars, the 3 pillars, can be summed up into our organizational slogan, that is clean energy, sustainable environment, empowered population. In short, conducive environment, empowered communities in conducive environments. The core team, I think, at least were able to meet some team members. Yes, I mentioned I founded the organization. So the challenges that we identified under the energy pillar when we were undertaking the baseline study, there is health deterioration in poor middle families due to excessive inhalation of smoke, that is the use of the firewood, which is a primary cooking fuel, resulting now to limited study time for the rural school-going children, because study time now ends as sunset. And for those few privileged families, they will use kerosene lamp, and with the kerosene lamp, there is issues with the lighting being dull, and emitting fumes. Girls face challenges of school absenteeism, plus underperformance due to spending more time in collecting files that might otherwise been spent when they were at school, doing their homework or revising and simply being at rest. So the other challenges is the household, as I mentioned, they would use an average of 63 kgs of file per week and then over the years now the tree cover has reduced and file availability has also reduced. You see, they spend about not less than 3 hours on a daily basis to go to look for files, which is on a longer distance. There is fuel scarcity, places major demands on women and girls' time, limiting them their opportunities to obtain an education and undertake income-generating activities, especially to the women. They will be spending this time that they're going to collect files to do some income-generating activities. Is environmental degradation in terms of soil erosion and the generation of existing resources, because there's so much consumption of firewood that is decreasing the tree coverage, and you find none is being planted as a replacement. The solutions now under the energy pillar is to distribute clean cooking equipment such as eco-jikos and solar light lanterns to the rural poor. This will assist to ensure there is unlimited study time at sunset, there is improvement in school performance, and therefore the children will have a better chance to further their education and have a brighter future. There is less eye strain, because now there is no fuel fumes. The solutions, the benefits of this clean cooking equipment are less smoke emission, less fuel burnt, less wasted energy, and food cooks faster, saving on time. The challenges that we identified under our environmental pillar is improper disposal of solid waste at the national parks. There is poor disposal of solid waste at the trading centers, and there is environmental degradation, which I'll explain further. So the solutions that we are offering under the environmental pillar is the two categories: green environment and clean environment. Under the green environment is now the planting of trees and working to planting more trees so that we can be able to increase the tree coverage and help tackle the diverse effects of climate change and deforestation. We have a program that we have rolled out in schools. It's called Migrate My Trees, that is encouraging children from different communities to plant and nurture as many trees according to their grade every year. And our goal is to not, because these days planting of trees has become it's just an event, but we want us, we are going further to ensure that these trees are actually surviving, the survival rate to be high. These are some of the pictorial evidence of the work that we've done under Migrate My Trees. Under here, we are undertaking a workshop. It's called Climate Knowledge, where we're able to teach the children on the causes and consequences of climate change, how it comes about. For those that will be interested in the environment, we will be taking through a workshop on this. So the solutions offered under the clean environment, that is the community cleanup exercises for polluted water sources and the environments. And also we have the Waste Free Park initiative. So some of the work that we've done. Then the Waste Free Park initiative was rolled out in October of 2020, and the aim is to ensure that there is environmental conservation and wildlife protection of the national parks. And at the moment we're focusing on the Nairobi National Park, but we have plans in this year to move to other national parks. For example, Amboseli National Park. So our main aim is to discourage littering and encourage environmental friendly ways of waste disposal, so that we ensure that non-biodegradable waste does not get into the park. It takes a minimum of 3 to 4 hours for a game drive inside the park, and most people carry snacks that have these wrappings on them. This is like leaves, popcorns and all that. They have a packaging of plastics, and you find those litter, depending on people's culture. So there's a lot of littering, and even the plastic water bottles. I know you're not supposed to get into the park with the plastic water bottles, but you still find people getting into still littering. To the empowerment pillar, the challenges that we identified under the empowerment pillar is there was lack of exposure to many career opportunities. There's been low literacy, imaginative, and creative thinking among the students. So the solutions that we're offering, we have a program called School Empowerment Program. Under it, we have projects. We have 3 projects under this program. One is the African Childhood Campaign, where we are promoting reading culture among students in poor and remote areas or disadvantaged areas by distributing storybooks, stationaries, solar light lanterns, and other learning materials, example the exercise books, to aid their learning needs. And this has resulted to improving students' ability to read, be able to complement ideas, and also improve their writing skills. And students have been able to grasp ideas and articulate their thinking easily. His ability to read and comprehension is very key for students to learn other subjects other than. You see, if a student is able to understand or improve their reading in both English and Swahili, when it comes to the other subjects, then they'll be able to understand the questions, because now they are able to read them, and then they can be able to answer the questions. So you see, so we tentatively be able to improve in all the subjects. You see, even when we were in primary and high school, focus was more on academics, right? We have the people come to mentorship, but it was very rare. This displays this opportunity. So on mentorship, we are equipping them with academic skill sets. For example, we teach topics such as planning and goal setting, communication skills, teamwork, time management, leadership skills. And there's a way we've structured. We have like a curriculum, there are physical activities that we do. We'll discuss that further later on. We also do career talks, so we're able to expose students to unlimited opportunities available after school through career talks. For example, we taught them recently on people who have construction. So we're able to mention this engineer, or the different types of engineers who are in construction site, plant operator, carpenter and all that. So we also engage them in school field visits to national parks, forests, museums, factories. So the output so far for the school empowerment program, we launched it in June 2020. We have some schools in Kajiado. So we impacted so far 432. So those schools you find a class has like 10, another one has 8, 15. They are very low number. These are public schools. We impacted 430 children in the campaign, distributed over 250 storybooks, distributed over 200 solar lights to both teachers and students, distributed over 700 stationaries to students, over 100 man-hours that have been put on the ground by the team during mentorship. But now when you go to the school, you find every town that a new student who has come to also issue the necessary materials. So these are some of the tutorials. You can see here we were doing some covering of the books, so at least to ensure that once we give them to the school, they are able to last long. We had some awards. We won the climate neutral now. It was in East Africa, 2021 awards. We don't have East Africa, so this was very good for me because we were offered by the Climate Prediction and Application Center for our efforts towards environmental conservation and wildlife protection under the initiative. Also, we won a competition with Sisonke competition organized by UAPA or Dimension across Africa and resources. The continent, this is very good. We are very proud of this. So we have various partners, for example, the Kenya Wildlife Services, Steel, Climate Collage, IGAD, UAPA, Tour Operator Society of Kenya, OSPVN, the YouTube channel. This is China Aerospace Construction Company. Then we have the National Environmental Complaints Committee. Yes. Tarika coming and
Okay. Mine will be extremely brief. Then we'll take some questions and answers. Maybe I'll focus in terms of my journey and why I accepted, at least when Vivian came to me the first time. She has explained she was in Masai Mara University. She got a chance to visit the Masai Mara. Did a lot of cleanup exercise. Actually, I got a chance to visit the project somewhere in between. And if you go to Masai Mara, I'm sure you know every training center in the country is usually full of plastic bags, trash is everywhere. And I was really impressed how they managed to convince the area chief and all the elders and the shopkeepers and the kids to keep the place clean. So go to Masai Mara, you'll be surprised, you'll think that you're in a different, not a typical training center in Kenya, so to keep the place clean, working with Kenya Wildlife Services, getting the other places clean. People, unfortunately, when they visit the national park, especially the picnic sites, there's a lot of trash that is thrown all over. So I was really impressed. So later she developed this program. She's talked about her journey. But in terms of expanding the whole thing, and the first time she came to me, what I told her, to get involved in the whole program, there are three things that I always insist. Any program, even if you come to me, that it has to be sustainable. I'll not do anything that is not sustainable. I've been in projects, very beautiful projects, where we're taking sanitary pads, which is good, big space and whatever, but I don't like, there's already many people doing that, so I don't get involved with such things. It has to be sustainable. And I also get involved with projects that you can start small, you can scale up, so don't have this grand idea that you either wait for 10 years to start, but you can start small and grow. And the whole thing that it has to be replicated, so I can do something in Kajiado. Next time I get a space in Bahrain or Kilifi, I can do that. So those are my conditions, and definitely that got her and the team quite thinking. So it had to go beyond just the cleanup that maybe they were used to. Because one of the things they said there definitely is, for it to be sustainable, you have to touch the children in the community. The moment you are doing a project and the kids are not, or the community is not getting involved, then it becomes quite difficult to go with that. So, and one of the best ways to touch or to impact students or children is in school. So definitely we have to bring the school program. Okay, this is a school, what is the challenge? You try to talk to the kids, shyness and a number of things. I believe we'll talk more in terms of the next presentation. But you find out in terms of most of the kids at that level, these are extremely poor areas. We're not talking about somewhere in Nairobi and whatever. Being able to articulate ideas, apart from being shy, most of the kids were not able to articulate. So it was very clear, and you try to go through some reading exercises, you realize that reading ability and comprehension ability for both English and Swahili is quite low. So definitely you have to come with a program to get them to be able to read and write and articulate ideas. So that's how African Child Book Campaign was born. So the next thing you realize, okay, you'll help them with their reading, their writing, doing things, they're reading, but the girls still are spending so much time going out to the field to go and look for firewood. So definitely now the environmental thing had to come on board, that we have to teach them to plant trees and grow trees. Because the moment somebody can grow a tree, they know the importance of the tree. So you just don't cut a tree for the sake of it. So that had to come on board. So we had, the empowerment grew from the children being able to read and write. Then the issue of energy started coming on board, lighting, environmental came on board, that, but again, since they're still going to continue in terms of firewood, why don't we bring clean cooking, or at least for them to use less and less firewood? So that came on board. So my point is that although we have three pillars, they're all entwined, and that's a sustainability part of it that we have, that we would actually get. So I think we can take some questions and answers for Vivian. All had questions to Vivian, please. And we can be taking the several questions because so Vivian, maybe you can come here and take some questions. Please let it be interactive.
Question is, why do you get the funding?
side of plastics control, because you have multiple programs that you run. One of the things that we've been doing, like, okay, I came late, just I late what I was able to capture. You were doing cleanups and then you decided to do something better beyond that. And I've also seen you do something very remarkable in the National Park, which is issuing of the bags to help control what visitors are dumping in the park. Have you thought of doing that in a larger scale? Because I was looking at Nairobi National Park and the amount of plastic that's coming from the city itself and the other sides of Ogai. There's a lot of it. We've done cleanups activities with you guys and you can acknowledge that. We've also seen in Nakuru, it's the same thing. In fact, Nakuru, the situation is pathetic. It's worse. And maybe looking into how you can partner with other organizations in, maybe scaling to advocacy, and also being able to identify who is it that is dumping this plastic waste in streams that are flowing into the parks. I think if we are able to do that, we can control plastics in a larger scale. Thanks.
Let me take the first question on funding. When we started the organization, a lot of resources was our personal or individual resources. At least with the programs, for example, the school empowerment program that we're currently doing in Kajiado, we've been able to get some partners. So we are open to look for more partners. Because you see, we can be able, the way I'm saying, with the Waste Free Park initiative, we want to scale up to Amboseli, Nakuru National Park, Masai Mara, etc. So it's an opportunity for us to work with other partners. So anyone who's interested to partner with us, we welcome. And at least with our mini programs, we can be able to look for more partners. Yes. So for now, we have some that we are working with, but we are also working to get other partners. So it's good even if you can get someone who can assist us, let's say with proposal writing, then we can, identify. For example, let me say the Waste Free Park initiative at the park. You see, there are various companies around the park, whether the cement factories, the hotels, whatever. So the opportunities is there. It's just to keep on working on this. The other question was on the plastic control. Basically scaling up the Waste Free Park initiative, because at the moment we're focusing on the advocacy element, the sensitizing visitors against littering, the dangers of plastic pollution, and then now giving out the litter bags. But with what Felix has said, that is something that we want to do to scale up the project and get into more of the advocacy. Because also with the climate collage and then having a team of people, we can be able to train them on climate change, things to do with plastic pollution and stuff, so that we can be able to have a wider reach. And also we want to, I know we're part of ONAP, so I would really want us to collaborate so that we can be able to do more activities within the various national parks. Yes.
For the volunteers who want to join, is it a must they join the 3 pillars or you can join one or any of the interests? Then the other question is regarding the empowerment pillar. From what you have seen, it's like you have concentrated a lot on the primary kids. Have you done anything to the secondary school kids?
Okay, at the moment, we are working with primary school children. But there is room for now scalability for that. Yes. Then for the joining in, after we do the plugging in presentation, we don't want you to join all the 3 programs. Depending on your interest rates, it's energy, environment, empowerment. There's a way we'll show you. There's a way we've categorized the level of being involved. Yes, we'll answer you in the second session.
Yeah, okay. On your pillar of energy, how far are you with the aspect of distribution of clean cooking items and biogas systems? Because I've not seen a pictorial evidence of the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, okay. Tell you take that.
Yeah, take that. I wanted to, when we talk about plugging in, because I said, you remember what I said, the philosophy I told you when she invited me that whatever ideas, because she had, it's like 100 ideas, then we have to package them in a way that is sustainable, it has to be replicated, but it has to be, we have to scale it up. So what I told her is, if you're going to wait for 3 years to get everything ready, you'll not start. So there are things that are at a different level, which I'll now talk about in the next presentation. So the areas that I'll be required, the people coming on board going to that area, a lot of strategic thinking, that area, but I'll go into more details if you don't mind in the next session on that.
Okay, then another thing, still on the issue of energy, I'm energy person, you'll excuse me. So it's very good to know that the pillars are intertwined. Yes. So on the same note, on the energy stuff, the currently you are doing solar lighting distribution. Yeah, I'll suggest that we can also focus on energy management training to the children. We sensitize them how to use energy efficiently. There's no need of distributing clean cooking solutions which will be used rather inefficiently, or they'll just be running through without no concerns for the energy usage. So maybe in your empowerment pillar, you can also, I think it's interfused with the energy pillar, you can also run a training on energy efficiency, energy management to the children, the low level, like switch off the lights when they are not using such stuff. Yeah.
We'll discuss more in the next session, but thank you so much. We appreciate the suggestion.
Yes. I think we'll break for some tea.
Just taken the potential volunteers to a session to explain to them what 3Es does, the objective and why we do it, and we're about to move to a session where we'll explain to them how to plug in, how they can be part of the 3Es family, how they can help us strategically think in terms of how to expand our vision, and how they can participate in our activity, and how we can come together and celebrate 3Es. So we look forward to the next session where we're taken through how to plug in 3Es. Thank you so much. It's a shorter session than the first one, because I've just realized that we answered quite a number of questions, but it's take your piece so that we have a structure for you to explain how you can get plugged into 3Es. One of the things I have to stress anytime, whether it's 3Es, but whatever organization, especially where you have volunteers, it's how much you give yourself that you both benefit and the organization benefits. How much you volunteer, how much you give your time, how much energy to give to the organization, that's quite important. So I encourage you, both whether it's ideas or just to bring the fun part of it or just to bring the whole thing, it's really important that it comes from you. but we just try our best to have a structured way how you can work with us. I'll just speak on mentorship and career talk. That's one of the areas I take lead. And as we had said in our presentation, is that we came to understand, and I'm sure all of you know, having grown in the Kenyan system, that students go through the normal academic, you learn maths, English, etc. But there are a lot of non-academic skill sets that we miss a chance to be educated about. Nobody stops to teach us about some areas, so it ends up what happened, even if the teachers say mathematics or English across the country, but you get kids who grow up in some certain schools or certain environments tend to be either, apart from performing better, but they end up having a full 360 developed life around themselves. So that's one of the things that we've seen that is lacking. And it was important that we get a way to share with the children, because we believe that we give them some skill sets based on how we have grown either through our university life or through working, whatever experience that you have. And some of you, I know, got a chance to take care of their siblings. Being able to share with somebody makes them a better person. The other thing when it comes to career, and this is, when you ask some of these children, and remember, what you want to be in life, boda driver was number one. So Leo, and there's a education. So that's the highest thing that I've seen in life. Some places when you go towards the marathon, definitely the kids want to be a tour driver. I mean, really look at the tour driver or whatever, looking very smart, that uniform, taking posts. So that's what they want to be in life. So it's what they see the endeavor to be. And as she said earlier, again, if we are not exposed to career skills that are outside, because sometimes we end up having the wrong image and telling people, what do you want to be in life? And sometimes we poison people's mind. They have to say, I want to be a pilot, I want to be an engineer. And sometimes I listen to, whenever there are KCSE results, KCP results, and I see citizens going to interview various former candidates, and most of them speak about the typical things they want to be in life. And I say it's brilliant, and it's really sad that they don't get exposed to where we are and where the world is going. The opportunities they have are changing every day. I've got a chance in life to travel to many countries, and I feel we should change our students by not exposing them where the world is going to be tomorrow. As I was saying, I shared with some friends of mine in the oil sector. I know, telling them they are really giving us a hard time with the fuel thing, and it's just a matter of time. I guess, especially for you people here, it's a very short time. You realize the petrol stations will be changing. We'll have more electric vehicles because we don't make vehicles ourselves, so we import vehicles. So even ourselves here, that we're not exposed to the next wave direction that the world is going to, whether it's electric vehicles. I was even telling somebody in terms of, let me just express Kidogo, but just to stress a point. Currently, electrical vehicles will come, people will be charging them at home, but as technology is improving, people want to enter okay, we call them petrol station, no, they'll be called BBS, whatever, but let me use petrol station to mean like the way we call Omo. Any technology is called Omo until we got used to other names. But be entering a station to charge your vehicle, and I've seen technology coming where you can charge your vehicle in 5 minutes, but that requires a lot of power. Actually, one service station with 8 points will require almost 4 megawatts of power. That's a lot of power that we have not thought, Kenya has never thought about it. It's in the wildest imagination of such things. My point is that there are areas that we're going, so we need to expose each other to career direction. And for the children, definitely expose them to both blue, white, and even self skills. So 3 years has developed a curriculum. I think we have 6 topics or so. So we are trying to take them through every time they learn something, so that by the time they finish a certain level, they'll have gone through our curriculum, and we believe they'll have got quite a number of skill sets. Every session starts with a simple definition of whatever we're discussing in both English and Swahili. So for some of us who at a certain time when Swahili was not compulsory in school, you have to scratch your head and remember all your Swahili words to be able to communicate. You have to mix the two languages, so that's how we communicate. But I see the kids, especially after reading, the time we've been them, their grasping it becomes easier to speak. Even before, the teacher had to throw a few Maasai words to get them. But that's how we work when we're in the field and we grow. So that's what we do mentorship and career talk and how you can get plugged in. It's a very exciting time. It's one of the few times I get a chance to run up and down, apart from the evening I'm doing my own personal thing. But it's a very exciting time for the children. Another area I'll talk about in terms of how we can plug in is regarding environmental issues, especially on clean environment and green environment. And I know we can talk a little about waste stream. So I'll focus in terms of training centers. As I said earlier, you travel anywhere, you go home, shanks, you go any place in this country, you don't even have to, even there are places in this town, there are streets that are next to us, that the level of trash being thrown left, right and center is a lot. So that happens everywhere. And this is a great opportunity. I know we have Nairobi National Park, Amboseli, and training centers, and I know green environment is about growing trees. And we have actually planted some trees in concert, and we believe the areas we can work with. So training centers, a lot of area in terms of you get there, you have to convince the chief, you have to convince especially the shopkeepers why it's important to have a clean environment, they buy in, and see how to work with them to ensure the environment is kept clean. And you get to a point where they're the ones who are running everything, and we only wait there once every 3 months to every quarter to see what is happening. So it's every quarter, once a trip, we just go somewhere and work with cleaning up a place. But we have to set teams so that it's their project and not ours. The worst thing you can do when you do any of these things is to allow the recipients to believe that you're some angel who has come with gifts for them. They have to buy that. That's never going to be sustainable, because they look at you and they just know it's a matter of time, they finish and go, they wait for the next person. So their buying has to come from them. So again, areas where I think we can work together is to identify training centers and forming networks. That's quite important to where we can have networks. So, for example, she knows the whatever, there's a place in, I don't know which part of the world, I'm not going to mention where you come from, but you know the chief very well, and they get that idea. It's a place you can go because we have somebody on the ground who can assist to make it sustainable. Trees will provide tools and refreshments, and we participate in the cleanup. But it requires a lot of buying. Again, planting trees. Okay, when it comes to places like Konza, the city, we can easily work with the management because they have space for the trees. We try to work as much as possible with organizations that have set areas for trees. Last week in my office, not the other week, not last week, the previous week, we went to Gom. The company I work for has this land that is fenced, and we planted quite a number of trees. It was really fun event. I think we did 800, although us we did the last 60. But it's good to see part of the Gom forest will be in a few years there will be a forest because of what we did. So it's easier to work with those places so that you, apart from planting, you're growing the tree. Again, our work as trees is to purchase a tree, then get as many people as possible to come and participate. So a lot of participation in growing trees and making it sustainable. And where you can get partners to support. I know Equity and the rest who are supporting, not these are million trees in Kenya. So there are organizations that are there to support the seedlings. And there's Carefree, Kenya Forestry, ready to support.
So, under the Waste Free Park initiative, why we are doing the program is to support environmental conservation and wildlife protection. This is by discouraging littering. As we have mentioned, we do sensitization before we give out the litter bags, so that anything that is not supposed to be in the park does not remain there after.
As you've had the presentations about all the pillars that we are engaged in, and I think by now you guys have an idea about where you really want to kind of engage in and in what capacity. So this form will give you an opportunity to choose which area you want to engage in, and also give us an opportunity to also know the kind of skill set you are. So if you're good at networking, if you're good at maybe writing, if you're good at digital content creation, whichever, communication, any of that. So you just write for us, you give us those details, so we can also know on what capacity we engage in, and then eventually also, I think one of you asked about if we can engage in more than one. I think we'll have a starting point, and then so eventually you're also able to go into just other areas. Sasa. I have been a 3Es volunteer for the past 1 year, and I think my experience with 3Es has been a very enlightening period. Being able to partake in some of their activities and their programs has been eye-opening and also engaging for me, especially during my transition period from campus into the world of working. And I think 3Es gave me an opportunity to be able to experience different aspects of the environment, which includes energy, as well as the environment itself, as well as empowerment, and visiting the schools, being able to also interact with the children, being able to plant trees with some of the kids, being able to also encourage different people to be able to take up the most space in the environmental field has been a tremendous improvement in my life.